Kevin Hope, the Executive Director of the St. Kitts and Nevis Chamber of Industry and Commerce, is here to give us some insight as to what World Day of Safety and Health at Work entails. Kevin also drew to the fore that mental health is an important component of occupational health and safety. Let's begin from that aspect. Good morning, Kevin, and welcome to Good Morning, SKN.
Good morning, and thanks for the invitation.
How are you today?
I'm doing well.
Okay, so
Pampered and doing well by your colleagues.
Yes, we're happy.
That's good to hear. So we'll dive into the meat of things. Why is it important for the workplace to consider their employees' mental health, and why do they think it is often put on the back burner? And why do you think, it's often put on the back burner?
I think, for starters, we should define the narrative. A lot of time when we think of mental health, we think it's a taboo. And in our culture, but regrettably in the Caribbean, in our culture, we fear that anything associated with mental health is a problem, and as a consequence, you're deemed crazy. Whereas mental well-being is important for not only the workplace, for households, for communities. Data shows that at least 1 in 6 person has a mental health problem or challenge. And for the benefit of the audience, mental health is really about your emotional, social well-being, And as simple as depression, as simple as anxiety and eating disorders, all those are symptoms of mental health issues. And as such, if at least 20% of our employees are deemed to be having challenges, why shouldn't it be important to us?
Right. So in other words, if I am feeling depressed and I come to work, it will definitely affect how I work.
Definitely. It would affect your productivity. And we have a responsibility within the private sector to ensure that we care about our people and that we can provide you with all the tools and support that you need to perform and to be most productive.
So how do you identify someone that may be having issues at work, particularly with mental health, depression, as Alicia mentioned, eating disorders?
So I think for starters, any workplace need to create a culture where there can be trust, where employees could feel that they trust and that they're part, and that he or she can speak to our HR, can speak to a subordinate, a superior, a colleague about an issue and feel that they can actually get the support that they need. Case in point, I know in a number of our members, we do have support systems. We have sometimes clinicians, let's say a nurse who may be accessible. We also have areas for which you can be referred to someone to at least discuss the challenges that you're facing. As simply as, take COVID-19, for example, the loss of a loved one, the issue with respect to occupational health and safety, a loss of a limb. And let's say as a man, you're unable to provide for your family, right? And regrettably, that could be emasculating. Especially if you have to face, or even in your, when you're thinking that, how am I going to provide for my kids?
Yes.
Right? So even within the household, you need to feel you're in an environment where there's trust and encouragement, and you could overcome that depression. And in our society, it's unfortunate that most times we take to the bottle, or we take to some hard drugs, and therein lies a problem.
So Kevin, I'm feeling you. These are external factors that we just discussed, but what about in the workplace itself? Are there any factors, maybe activities or things within the workplace that can also affect an individual's mental
stress.
health?
So clearly, there is workplace stress in most environments. A lot of times we're being asked to produce or perform under conditions that are at times that are not ideal. And I think as executive director, as CEOs, as board members, we have a responsibility to ensure that we strike a proper work health or work-life balance. I'm mindful that a number of our members are providing that sort of support and having some flexibility. Sometimes the very nature of the job could be stressful. And as such, we have a responsibility to ensure we provide simple things as, support. The need for persons to take breaks, to socialize, even, I guess, the ergonomics of the, the environment, the chairs you sit on, access to having breaks, coffee breaks, tea breaks, right? Simply socializing with your counterparts sometime in the hallway, depending on the nature of the job you're in, is important. Because you would see the reverse when we went through COVID and we had to work from home. All those things showed up. And even that added to sometimes our depression, in the sense that we're no longer with our work family per se, to socialize, to really, Staff associations in some of our members are important, but you do definitely need that recreation, that exercise, that opportunity to just unwind.
Nice, I really like that. What about in general? How has the SKNCIC promoted safety and health in general?
So generally, a number of our members, we do have, especially those in manufacturing, we do a lot of education and awareness building, because you could appreciate that these are folks who would be working with machinery, and as a consequence, they would be training. They would actually provide regular training to the members, so that whether in the form of video, whether in the form of face-to-face, so they can see the outcomes of, I guess, shortcomings, in the sense that if you're not paying particular attention to safety issues. There is also safety audits within the workplace. So you would actually have an officer who would be OSHA trained, who would actually go around and do the audits. And we also try to incentivize and encourage members to identify hazards within the workplace, right? And that's important also.
I noticed that SKNCIC, they have various activities for their staff. They've been exercising, they're having, I guess, inter-office sports. Is that an idea that you put out to companies? So
definitely, I think, and we have to give credit to companies who recognize that the importance of exercise and engagement is important, because one way of actually onboarding and having persons take ownership in his or her own safety and health is really where firms can really put out or have activities. That's why I spoke about staff associations, where you can have hiking, sometimes even a little domino or picnicking. And more importantly, we recognize now, during living through COVID, the importance of physical exercise. One initiative we are planning with our members is actually to probably have what we're going to brand it T10 cricket. We don't know if we could manage through the 20 overs, but at least have both men and women participate, represent the enterprise, and have fun.
What type of companies are registered with the SKNCIC?
So the St. Kitts and Nevis Chamber of Industry and Commerce, we have different members. So we have as sole traders, which would represent more the micro and small enterprises. We would have a number of corporates, like corporation companies, which are more medium to large enterprises. To date, we have a membership of around 132 members. And of interest, which oftentimes is not in the public domain, is that at least 80% of our members are either small and micro enterprises.
Ah, nice. Okay. And how does the SKNCIC facilitate, well, in general, how do you work among your members?
So the beautiful thing about the St. Kitts and Nevis Chamber of Industry and Commerce is that we're 73 years old and we've evolved over time. So it's important to note that we represent 18 sectors within the economy, and as such, we are the recognized voice for business. So oftentimes, whether it's the government, international or regional agencies, they would come to us to solicit our insight. We're able to canvass our members to provide sort of knowledge exchange and also contribute to advocacy work here in St. Kitts and Nevis, which is one of our mandates as a chamber. So a chamber is really a membership association of persons of interest, particularly in this case, persons who have an interest in building businesses and also helping to promote prosperity in the Federation.
So for example, among the construction sector, would there be an individual responsible for that area, or are individuals responsible for several areas? How is it divided among those 18 sectors?
So so construction would be a sector of which we would have members. Construction, agriculture, two sectors we actually have a work cut out for us in terms of trying to build more members within the space. And the reason being is that those are also two important sectors within our economy. But construction in its own right, if you think of it as, when you think of the value chain for construction, it has as far as architects on one hand to, let's say, those who are providing trucking, engineers, among others. So even within that construction sector, we do have members in different pockets, even in terms of the suppliers of construction material. But it's important, and we see the need and the urgency to actively be building out our membership. And this month in particular, we actually are starting a membership drive, which we're calling 50 and 52, which is to try to attract at least 50 members within the next 52 weeks and to target those sectors that are underserved within the Chamber of Industry and Commerce.
Interesting. Mention two of those sectors that are underserved.
Particularly agriculture. So we've actively been liaising with the Ministry of Agriculture and a number of agro-processors to date, in addition to construction.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Does that coincide with the mission of the St. Kitts and Nevis Chamber of Industry and Commerce?
Definitely. Our mission is to improve the standard and quality of life for our Kittitian and Nevisians. And obviously to do so, because again, the Chamber is, you could think of like the third pillar in our society. So you have civil society and the unions, which would be included in that. You have the government, whether it be the opposition or the incumbent. And then you have the Chamber, the private sector. So to a large extent, we see and we take our role seriously in terms of advocating for economic well-being and prosperity, and also ensuring that we recognize that even a number of our micro, small enterprises are really the entities that are carrying our country. When our country catch a cold, we are the ones who are affected. Think of the COVID-19 pandemic. Immediately we felt the hit in the private sector. And while and it's important to note though, because there are country nuances in St. Kitts and Nevis. So from a labor perspective, it's estimated that the government actually employs around 40 to 45% of our active employees. And as such, you can see there is the need for a partnership. So while yes, we recognize and acknowledge what the government is doing in terms of helping to carry and support the country during the COVID-19 pandemic, it's equally important for that next 55% that there must be ongoing dialogue as to how we can incentivize and improve enterprises to ensure we retain employees, and also to ensure that we are able to meet or work on solving the constraints within the private sector.
Right. And if I could just piggyback on what you just mentioned, COVID also brought to the fore additional entrepreneurs, because persons who were unable to go to their regular employment for someone else, they then started their own business. So is there some sort of drive to maybe incorporate some of these newer persons in the society? You mentioned membership drives.
And I'm happy that you said that. Recently, for example, we would have opened a new Nevis division, and we invested in our infrastructure in the sense of creating more audiovisual and creating space for which entrepreneurs can come and feel at home. And this is not just exclusive to our members. So if there anyone within the private sector, anyone who want to become formalized, we're here to help. We provide business support services. And all of these are benefits also of membership. Notwithstanding, we provide a space, we coach, we connect you with those who are coaching, and we provide a type of mentorship for businesses that they can thrive. So all enterprises who have a genuine interest in becoming a member and or getting that type of support, whether in the Nevis division or in St. Kitts, we're happy to support.
Okay, so maybe you can look into that camera and invite persons to become members. So what do they have to do? Colleagues,
to become a member of the Chamber of Industry and Commerce, all you need to do is contact us at 465-2980 or email us at admin@sknchamber.com. We also are located online at www.sknchamber.com, and all the information with respect to members, you can send you can send us an email. You can read a bit more about what the Chamber represents. We're happy to serve you.